Audio article by the Common Constitutionalist entitled, "The Charlotte Shooting Looks to be Cut and Dried. The Cops Were Right Again." The saga of the police shooting of Keith Lamont Scott in Charlotte, North Carolina, continues as the dash cam and body cam footage is released to the public, although to me it's not much of a saga. A brief synopsis of the lead-up to the shooting is that Charlotte and Mecklenburg police were dispatched on another call in the immediate area when they noticed a man seated in an SUV with a pistol in his hand. However, according to his dear mother, Scott was not brandishing a weapon but was reading the Quran. No Quran or any other book was found at the scene. While one officer is clearly seen behind a pickup truck with his weapon drawn on the SUV, another pulls up with his dash cam rolling. He joins the officer behind the pickup truck. Although we can't see Scott in the SUV, we can clearly hear one of the officers yelling at the person in the car to drop the gun. He did not say drop the book or drop the Quran. For anyone at this point to believe that Scott did not have a gun in his hand is either a moron or a Black Lives Matter type radical activist who wishes only to further the cause of racial divide and hatred for whites and cops, being that the cop who shot him was black. If you were still to believe he had no gun, you would then have to postulate that the police simply rolled up on this innocent black man and instantly conspired to set the scene so they could then shoot him dead, because that's what cops do. But what about the video? As Scott finally did exit the SUV, it's impossible to tell if he had anything in his hand. His family and their attorney were quick to point this out. What the family, the attorney, and the mainstream press continue to ignore is the video is not the only evidence. There is also photo evidence of the scene. I will not say crime scene, as in my opinion, there was no crime. The photo evidence reveals a gun on the ground near Scott's body. I won't bother to mention the half-smoked joint found in the car. Conspiracy theorists will naturally claim that these things were planted, again because that's what cops do, in the movies and on TV. Another interesting tidbit that failed muster in the mainstream press is that last year his wife filed a police report and restraining order against Scott, in which his wife confirmed he carries what she described as a 9mm black pistol. The restraining order was for domestic violence, in which she claims he hit her 8-year-old son in the head 3 times with his fist. Funny, I thought the family attorney said Scott did not own a gun, nor did he habitually carry one. That's right, he did. A lawyer that lies? What are the odds? The most damning evidence I see in this whole episode is not the police yelling, "Drop the gun," although that's pretty compelling. No, it's the gun itself. In my article last week, I emphasized that you never draw your weapon unless you intend to use it. If it's out of its holster, this is the only conclusion that one can make. Take a look at the photo of Scott's handgun on the ground at the scene. The first thing you may notice, with a little experience, is that it is not a 9mm but a .380 ACP, a real popular concealed carry pistol. This is inconsequential, though. What is of great consequence, and what I have failed to see or hear from anyone, is that the weapon is cocked. The hammer is pulled back to the initial firing position. This is an action which is only done consciously. It doesn't happen by accident or merely dropping the gun. If the gun was photographed as evidence the way it was discovered, which is police department protocol, I personally need no more evidence to convince me that what I suspected from the start. The cops were correct. They gave the man every opportunity to drop the weapon and surrender, and when he did not comply, had to, as they must do many times, make a split-second decision to protect themselves and the public. Thank you for listening.